Welcome to second 6 weeks kindergarten curriculum preview. Let's take a look at what the reading expectations will be for this 6 weeks. We need to make sure that the kids have 20 letter sounds. That's what they need to have, demonstrating those that they know them. They need to identify the letter, produce the sound of the letter, and form the letters accurately. Kids need to be able to work independently for at least 10 minutes or more at a time, building that independence. We've been working on that, getting them out there, building that stamina. They need to read at least 10 high frequency words in isolation and in context. They need to know those in a snap. They need to be able to apply letter sound knowledge and picture clues to predict words and actions. And then last, apply the gap stopper routine to make predictions and think about the text. So those are our reading expectations. So let's start off with the word study. You're still working on building that reading workshop, but this word study is separate. Your phonics book from Fountas and Pinnell gives you a great guide, monthly guide. If you look right here, and it's on page 36 through 44, in the month of October, it lists all the different type of phonemic awareness and letter sound knowledge, all the suggested lessons that Fountas and Pinnell say that kindergartners in the month of October need. Now, this is when you are being a responsive teacher and you're looking at, my kids know this, but this would be a great list to look at to make sure that we have that secure foundation for our babies in kinder. So it shows you that that's where you're looking at. Unit 2, spellings and conventions. So our in a snap words for the second 6 weeks are see, my, and, to, and do. So we want to make sure that we're putting these on the word wall and we're doing activities where the kids are having to look at the word wall. They're learning to, once again, they're going to identify 20 upper and lowercase letters in the correct formation. There is a tips for making handwriting instruction effective in your Norma Jackson resources. And then we want to teach the academic terms vowel and consonant with them. These are the things that we really want them to really know about. The academic vocabulary is now in Spanish, and you will find this under yearly content under academic vocabulary. Here we have the English and then the Spanish, and you want to include those in your vocabulary word work every week. So here we are. We're growing. We're growing as an independent person in reading workshop. So the first 6 weeks, you really worked on listening to reading, book box reading, poetry, and word study. So now we're going to start putting those into that workstation you probably already have. Kids should be listening to books on tape. Very soon your RAS kids will be all implemented, and you'll be able to let them listen to those level books at their reading level. And where they're doing that, there's other resources. Ask your digital learning specialist to help you with finding good sites for listening to literature. You should started their books boxes. Right now, you haven't had your BOY, and so you're getting to know where they are. But right now, you're wanting them to enjoy books, learning about how they hold books and concepts of how a book works. And so you're teaching them what read to self looks like and what read to a partner looks like. You're just investigating with poetry and doing poetry and songs and doing fun things with them. And then in your word study, you're doing word work tubs, you're doing all kinds of words, making sentences, all those type of things. So you're taking that over into that workstation, making them be independent. Your lead standards for this 6 weeks are students are expected to use knowledge of letter sound relationship to decode regular words in text and independent of content. So we want to make sure this is our they recognize words and familiar messages based on initial sounds and picture clues. So that's one of them. And then the other one, they're expected to use their knowledge of consonant vowel sound relationships to decode syllables and words in text and independent of content. So we're really helping them see how letters and sounds go together to make words. With their partnering standards, we're going to be looking at expository text, and they're supposed to identify the topic and details that heard or read and referring to the words and illustrations. In procedural text, we want them to identify the meaning of signs like traffic signs around them that's in their environment. Their comprehension skills, we want them to monitor and adjust their comprehension as they listen to you read great stories. Then we want them making connections and using text evidence to make those connections. So let's take a look at what maybe your focus lessons might look like for week 7 and 9. If you haven't found this yet, this is in the planning year at a glance. This is your planning sheet. We've made these for you for a whole year. You'll see how it goes week 7, week 8, week 9. This is for the second 6 weeks. Here are your major things that you are doing in reading workshop. Here are the major things that you are doing in writing workshop. So this can help you in your PLC to just jot those plans down. One of the lessons that you're going to do is an anchor chart with find the pattern. So you would do a lesson with how do I find the pattern? How are words alike and different? You introducing that one to them, and you're going to be using your unit overview. As you look in your unit overview, you're going to see on page 6 where it starts classroom approaches to use, and it talks about that and it shows you exactly. There is a document called Find the Pattern, and so you'll look at that and refer to that resource as you do that one. You're going to continue to reinforce focus or the pattern of the routine of reading workshop and celebrate what they're doing great. You're going to be creating echo charts. Is like, how am I growing as a reader? What am I doing that shows that I am doing that? I'm gonna get started right away. I'm gonna read the whole time. I'm gonna listen for details. So you're really trying to get them to see that independence with their book box. You're going to just build on those behaviors that we talked about before that you've been building in the first 6 weeks and taking them over to workstations and seeing how they can work independently of you. Okay, so if you have to, sometimes you have to meet briefly and bring them back if they're not doing it, learning it in the correct way, so you will be able to have that consistency of them working independently of you. The next one is that you really want them to use poetry. They're going to be listening to rhyming words and listening to you do this, and then you'll add this poem to your poetry workshop. You have a document called Using Poetry to Teach Beginning Reading Skills in your Norma Jackson resources, and so you might want to download that and read that one to help you teach that particular focus lesson. Now, the next list is you're going to focus on 1 to 2 phonological skills at a time, and then you can use these as a list. So these are some of the things that you would put in your focus lesson using literature to do that. Like, let's just take, for example, identify syllables in spoken words. You might want to put a short story up there, and then you might want to take out a word and talk about what syllables are and clapping the syllables and doing those type of things with kids. So just make sure that you're getting all of these essential phonological skills in place this 6 weeks. You're going to introduce the movie and a documentary. This is just a really great lesson that really helps kids. It's a visual tool for kids about what's the author's purpose. So after a read aloud, you're going to introduce movie and document where the kids are going to think about, would this be better as a movie or a documentary? And this is one of those lessons that you're going to rinse and repeat. And if you're just doing a read aloud one day, you just say, boys and girls, is this a movie or is this a document? Would this be better as a movie or a document? And always referring to those anchor charts as you do that. You're going to introduce Be a Gap Stopper as a reading strategy. Use informational text, and so you have them look at this as that you go back and you read. You go back and read when you're reading something. You always read it for not just one time, and then in what you ask yourself, what do I want to know? I mean, what is it that this read? What is the author wanting me to know? And then is he wanting me to ask questions? So you're using Gap Stopper as a reading routine as well. Then you want to also, as a focus lesson, introduce the habits of mind, visuals as a tool for developing foundational proofreading skills. The goal is not to perfect the writing, but to develop the habit of proofreading. So you're looking if you look in your overview, you're going to see that it'll show you how to use that to help the students with developing habits of mind. So now, your early literacy, you're going to be having your early literacy October the 3rd through the 14th. So they will be going to the computer lab, beginning that assessment. I hope that you have been doing running records with them if you feel like they are to where they can. Remember, your academic coaches are really showing us where on your to get these running records books out for treasures. I am putting a copy of the books that go with the running records on each campus. They will be in your level library. So, and then make sure that if you're not using this letter sound check, that you're using something like it to know where are they beginning. And then by October the 24th, you need to really take all of that and begin having your guided reading groups by October the 24th. Remember that pre-A, once you get those, you may still have some that are in a pre-A, and so essential it is that they continue knowing the letters and sounds and following the lessons in the Jan Richardson book that talk about the pre-A are so very important. Working with letters and sounds, those are essential in building those foundations. Don't go on until they know that. Then you're going to step into your early guided reading and look at those pages and those books that show you what does the early guided reading plan look like? What are some of the things that I'm going to do? And that book is so great because it really takes you through of what you say in each part of this on day one. What does sidebar review look like? What does an introduction to a book look like? And then when they are when they are reading, what are the things that you are looking for in a guided reading, an early guided reading lesson? And then teaching points after reading. What are some of the things that you're going to do? So it takes you through day one and day two. All of these resources are located right here on this link. But make sure that you get out that next step to guided reading. That's really going to help you in doing what you need to do in your guided reading books. Now, where are you going to get those books? In every campus, there is a leveled library. And once you know the levels and the groups, you're going to look at the Fountas level, and then you'll have a correlation chart if you're familiar with DRA, and you're going to say, okay, if this is this level, this is what it is in Fountas and Pinnell. Go to your level library and find great books to put in there and check those out and use those. Also, you're going to have Reading A to Z, and your academic coaches will be showing, if you've not ever used this before, what a great resource this is, because like if you have a level A, let's go in here and let's look at what some level A books look like, and let's print some off and have lesson plans that go along with it. So you're going to have two great resources to help you in that guided reading back there at that small reading group table. Also that you're going to put in place is RAS Kids. RAS Kids will be for each one of your students, and once you know where they are after the BOI, you're going to be taught by the academic coaches how do you level each student in RAS Kids, where then it will develop a book, a case of ebooks for those students to listen to. So this is going to be a great listening center for you because it reads the books to the boys and girls, and then they actually have activities that will just even guide them further in that. So those are some great things to help you with your guided reading. Now let's take a look at writing. What we want them to do is we really want them being at a strong 2, and if you can get them to a 3, hallelujah, and great for you. But we want them to be using their knowledge of letter knowledge sound and using some of those high frequency words to begin to make those writing, not only just drawing pictures, but making those, just putting down those letters and sounds that they hear. Okay, so writing workshop. Santa's workshop is a great way to start this with, and what you're doing in writing workshop, and I'm sure a lot of you have already started that, and that's great. You just want to focus your lessons on the skills that your kids are showing in their writing. So you want to look at page 6 of your writing focus lessons. Page 6 starts in, and it talks about using Santa's workshop and then using standing on the shoulders. So look at those, and those will give you some focus lessons to do. You're going to continue to use mentor text with them. You're going to read and revisit good books and look for the smart moves and talk about how authors use this. This also is a great way to get them to know what they want to write about. So read books that will give them and inspire them to say, that might be something that I want to write about. You're going to introduce habits of mind to them, and they're going to be looking at what are habits and how do we acquire them. And so in your overview on page 7, it talks about to read Rabbit's Habit by Jane Moncure, or The Bernstein Bears and the Bad Habit by Stan and Jan Bernstein, to reinforce that concept. And then to introduce those 3 questions that we need to develop as good readers and writers. So those habits of mind is a great focus lesson for you to do. Remember that you are right now, you are teacher and students a lot of times are co-creating together. The teacher writes and thinks aloud, and you are teaching letter sound connections, how print works, really showing that correct formation of upper and lowercase letters, and how sentences go together, as how words go together to make a sentence, and really increasing the use of those sight words that they're learning. We have a writer's notebook for you now. It's in the Norma Jackson resources. A lot of you are doing a great job with what you've already got in place, but we wanted to give you something that we want to really help students. And you're going to notice, what are these words right here? These are those words that are their sight words that we really want them to learn. But start a writer's notebook for them to begin to use and know that we expect them to use those words they know correctly. So remember, in the independent writing, set aside at least 2 or 3 minutes that you guide through them. Like, if as they're writing, say, okay, boys and girls, what we're going to do is go through that proofreading and use the habits of mind questions. Does it make sense? Does it sound right? Does it look right? And as they're writing independently, right now I know that in kindergarten they are, it's probably not. There's some kids that are still, I had somebody say they're scribbling. Well, then sit down and say, oh my goodness, what is it that you're trying to tell us? Tell me your story. And then just jot down what their story is so you can remember and help them to celebrate. You're looking for them using those sight words and maybe using that word wall, or right now building those details in their pictures, because those are just the things we're looking for in kindergarten. So as you begin this second 6 weeks, I just want to say good luck to you. Let us help you in your planning. Call the academic coaches or call me. Just have a great second 6 weeks.